Hey guys, welcome back to Andy's Dinosaur Reviews. Today we have a brand new Nanmu model to take a look at. This one is a long time coming. It's one that we've been waiting for a very long time. It seems it's been hyped up for many months. This is obviously the male Jurassic Park inspired Tyrannosaurus Rex. Unfortunately, I currently only have the green one, the more Lost World style one here to take a look at, and I don't have a base with this one. I actually ended up ordering this, and then I also have the version with the base coming, but I have the other two paint variants as well. Those ones are going to be without the base though, but they're all on their way to me, and they're just like scattered. And the postal service currently, they're coming through different postal services, and apparently just shipping in general is a total nightmare right now, so they're all very delayed. This one's been sitting here for a few days now, and I've been kind of trying to wait it out for the others to arrive before putting a review up of it, but I just basically gave up on that, so I figured I'll review this one now, and then when the others arrive, I'll review those. I think the version, this greenish version with the base, as well as the brownish version, will be here within probably the next few days. The Walking with Dinosaurs style version, I don't think that one's going to be here for a little bit yet, so that one's going to be a little delayed as far as a review goes. But once the other two arrive in a few days, I'll have a review up of those right away. But again, as of right now, we have the Lost World Jurassic Park style version as far as the paint scheme goes. And I am not going to lie to you guys, this Tyrannosaurus is completely incredible in every sense of the word. This is easily one of the nicest Tyrannosaurus models I've ever seen, and honestly, in my opinion, even outdoes the previous Nanmu Tyrannosaurus, which is really crazy to say because that Rex, the female Rex, was incredibly done as well. But this one is just like, I love the Lost World male style Rex. Like, I've always been a huge fan of it. I've always kind of enjoyed it a little bit more than even Rexy. But there are so few models out there of it because usually when they get created, people give it the green paint scheme, but they keep like a female sculpt, so we don't get the difference as far as the sculpt goes. And there haven't been too many times that we've had versions of it in the past. So to have one like this that is so beautiful and so accurate to what it looks like as far as both the sculpt and paint is just phenomenal. You can see the head and neck region. Obviously just a big bulky appearance to the Tyrannosaur is a bit different from the female version, but the head and neck area I feel like is one of the most important parts of a male Tyrannosaurus as far as the sculpt goes, having that kind of little bit of a shorter face and much stockier build to him, and the thicker neck as far as like some hanging skin and stuff. That's something that is really important when you're trying to create a male Tyrannosaurus Rex from the Jurassic Park franchise, and a lot of the time it just seems to get skipped. But luckily Nanmu is here to jump in and save the day, and they have given us pretty much, I would say, the definitive version of this Tyrannosaurus. As far as what we also have included, we do have the incredible artwork that they always give us. You can see it's beautiful beyond belief. This is always my favorite side, even though I love the really nice image that will be on the other side. I always love the hand-drawn versions of the art cards. I just am a huge fan of dinosaur art like this, so I'm always in love with this side of the card. But once we turn it around, you can see a beautiful image of the Tyrannosaurus walking up along a ledge here, and that's exactly why we have that style base with this Rex, which unfortunately, again, I don't have here right now, but I will have in a review here in a few days. But you can see again how cool it looks walking up along the ledge right there. Just a really nice art card. All the time Nanmu goes above and beyond to give us a fantastic product, and then throwing in really cool little extras like that, that's pretty much just the icing on the cake. And then we also actually have a Hannah Dundee figure, and I thought that was a really cool choice on the part of Nanmu because they've been giving us so many Jurassic Park, human characters that they haven't really left that franchise and gone with anything else, and I thought this one was such an obscure one to create, and a really cool one on their part to create, something that I was really excited about, and I did not ever expect to have a Hannah Dundee figure in my collection, but thanks to Nanmu, we now do. So let's go ahead, jump straight to a closer look at this right now. I also kind of wanted to split the reviews up because I feel like this review is going to take a little while to really get through this figure, so rather than making one hour-long review, it's probably better to split it up into a few different reviews. But you can see, as per usual when it comes to Nanmu, the detailing of the face, and just generally, of course, the body, but it is so incredible and so vibrant. Look at how nice that detail pops. Like that scale detail pops so much better than most companies do as far as like a vibrant standpoint. Like it just looks so good, and the paintwork is just unbelievable on this. It might be the nicest painted Nanmu model that I think I've seen yet, because if you look here, like there's so many different tones of color. Like even within the green here, you can see areas of browns and stuff popping up, as well as like little areas of like dark grays, I would say it is. So there's just so much paintwork included. It's honestly like looking at this is the type of paint that I would expect to get if I were to send a model out to a highly paid paleo artist to paint for me, and you get this as your actual paint job from Nanmu. It really just shows how incredible Nanmu is overall, and why, in my opinion, they are the leading producer of dinosaur models right now. Of course, they're not making too many accurate dinosaurs. They're more basing most of them off of, like, movie franchise versions like the V-Rex, and of course lots of Jurassic Park and Jurassic World inspired dinosaurs. But I absolutely love the fact that they do that. But at some point, I'm certain they're going to branch out and give us some others as far as different, hopefully more accurate dinosaurs. They have done some in the past, and I'm hoping to one day get a hold of some of those as well. But I've been loving the plethora of Jurassic figures that we've been getting, and you can again see how nice the smooth transition here is between the green as we lead out to the darker. It's like a really dark green or a dark gray, or maybe bordering on a black actually. As we reach out here into the snout, you can see the nostrils sculpted out right there, and also elaborated quite nicely with a black coloration. And the paintwork lightens quite nicely in the palette area. As you can see, it transitions to kind of like an off-white, but even in that area you could see variations of like that yellowish brown picking up. You can also see the stripes leading down here into the palette from the upper part of the head of the dinosaur, and you can see that there's some variations of green here kind of striping through the snout of the dinosaur, similar to what you would see again on a Lost World Tyrannosaur. I feel like they've honestly captured everything in picture perfect fashion as far as this model goes. As we lead back into the eye, first of all, you can see the detailing around the eye is insanely well done. You can literally see like the movement of how the eye is facing forward, and how the skin is kind of reacting to that movement there around the eye. And the eye itself is just incredible. There's so much detail included in the eye area itself. Like you can see the decal they used looks so lifelike and so realistic. Has a really nice gloss coat over top as well, so it has that really nice eye shine. But I'm honestly not sure that I've ever seen a more realistic looking eye on something that is this size in my entire life. As we lead back here into the back of the head, you can see the ear right there. You can also see that like scoot-like look that runs up along the eyebrow and everything area of the dinosaur, and you can see how those are nicely painted with that darker green. As you lead down into the lower jaw, you can see that we have some more of that green, the darker green. We also have some variations of brown, but then we have this kind of nice off-white, and they've applied a beautiful dark wash so that that detail pops really nicely throughout. You can see each and every scale pops, and that really just shows off how unbelievably highly detailed the sculpt of this Tyrannosaurus is. Of course, we have an articulated jaw, and once we open the mouth, you can see the detailing here on the inside of the mouth is just as incredible as we see everywhere else on this model. But you can also see that we have some really nice paintwork included with some nice tones of pinks, as well as almost like some variations of browns, or like, I'm not really sure honestly what way to term that, but there's definitely some fantastic coloration as well as a nice dark wash included in the mouth in that area as well. And then of course we have the tongue in there, and you can see the tongue is as lifelike as it gets. Really nice paintwork on the tongue as well, but the detailing is just phenomenal on the tongue. Of course, showing that Nanmu does not skimp out anywhere when it comes to both their detail and paintwork. Really nice dry brushing over the top of the tongue to make all of that detail pop, and you can see the inside of the mouth. Look at that, that is just insane. Again, so much paintwork included in the mouth of that Rex, and the detailing is honestly off the charts. So nice. And of course, the highlight for most people as far as the mouths of the Nanmu figures go would be the teeth, and you can see the teeth have that very realistic appearance to them, like they always do, with that kind of almost translucent type of a look. And you can see how it transitions to like a nice brown the closer we get to the gum line.
and just adding some color variation and some overall realism to the teeth. And they also have a really nice gloss coat. You can see the same thing for the teeth on the lower jaw. And every single tooth, of course, sculpted individually and painted individually. It just looks insanely realistic and lifelike. It doesn't get any better than that. It really does not. And of course, the articulated jaw works really smoothly. You can see it dropped right there, but 99% of the time it seems to sit perfectly when the mouth is closed. We also have some darker coloration there around the eye, which I did not mention. We have kind of a black that kind of borders around the eye, which again is something you do see on a Jurassic Park style male Tyrannosaurus Rex. Once we start to lead back into the neck, you can see how unbelievably beautiful the skin texture is to this Rex, as well as a few little osteoderms poking up here and there. You can see some tensing in the neck right here, like you can really see the muscles tensing right there as you lead down through the course of the neck into the shoulder area. And you can see that we have, again, tons of variation of color with that really nice black up here. We have like some yellows and greens. There's just tons of variation. We even have hints of browns and stuff throughout. So there's just a lot of paintwork that really creates a very lifelike appearance for this model. You can also see how the skin is kind of bending and creasing here with the Rex turning its head to its left. So that as well is beautifully done. You can also see some really nice detailing down here in the neck and throat region of our Tyrannosaurus, as well as yet again some more incredible paintwork as we have variation of color down here. But look at the skin detail. That is just insanely well done. You really can't get a good idea of how incredible a Nanmu figure is until you see it in person. As we move back here into the body, again, you can see how nice the detailing is as far as like showing off pretty much every ounce of realism to the model. You can pick up on the shoulder blade a little bit right there. I love that the arms are held into the body in a really nice natural way. You can see the muscle definition within those arms, as well as some beautiful dry brushing they've applied to highlight the arms specifically. Really nice hand sculpt right there, and you can see the nails are painted with a very nice glossy black, so they have a nice shine to the nails as well, like they would in real life. Moving back into the stomach region, again, the skin detail is just unbelievable on this model. You can just see so much detail, like detail for days on this model, and you can see how we have, again, variations of like browns and greens and stuff throughout, giving this a super lifelike appearance. You can also see that that black stripes down here into the side of the dinosaur. We have some more of that variation of brown running along right there. We have kind of like a slight scoot-like appearance up here in the upper part of the stomach region, leading up into the back, and then you can see that the spinal column is nicely elaborated. The scale detail up here looks really big and rough, but really well done. And I love that the kind of green areas that stripe along the back have the yellow underneath, so you can kind of see how the yellow creeps through the scales as you run the course of the back of the dinosaur. That was really cool paintwork on the part of Nanmu, and you often see, of course, like differences between, sometimes you'll see the Rex having like a green striping on the back, like a light green. Sometimes you'll see it having a yellow, and I like that they've kind of taken both of those colors and combined them, so no matter what you say, it's got like that correct look to it up here, as it has both variations of color to please pretty much everyone, I would imagine. As we move back here into the hip region, again, you have some more of those larger scoots that run along the top of the hip. More fantastic skin texture up here on the top of the hip region and into the back. And then as you lead down here into the thigh, again, the muscle definition is beautifully defined here. Like you can really see some tensing and stuff back here in the rear of the thigh. The skin texture looks drop dead gorgeous like it does everywhere else. You can see the kneecap here as we move down the course of that very muscular, big, bulky leg. Some more really nice paintwork as we have some of that dark green striping coming from the front of the leg leading into the back of the leg. Really nice transition to that kind of an off-white or like light gray color that we have here in the calf region. The calf as well is nice and big and bulky and obviously flexing as the dinosaur is walking along. And as you move down into the foot, you can see that the wash is applied beautifully, so every ounce of detail on this model pops. And you can also see that we have those scoots running down the course of the toes. Look at how unbelievably beautiful that looks. That is the definitive looking Tyrannosaurus foot from a JP Rex. Like, that just looks unbelievable. And again, so much paintwork included even down here. You can see that the nails are again painted with that black, but they've been nicely dry brushed over with a light gray, so they pop very nicely and show off every ounce of detail there as well. You can also see that the curve in the toes and everything looks really nice. Just a majestic looking appearance to this foot as it's picking up off of the ground as the Tyrannosaur walks along. As we lead back up here into the tail, again, you can see how unbelievable the skin texture is, but you can also pick up on the fact that they've kind of like dry brushed some darker greens over top of some of the other greens just to give us even more paint variation, which is insane. You could see up here again some more of that striping as we run out the course of the tail, and all of the paint looks as lifelike as it gets. Like, it looks exactly like the body color of this dinosaur. Does not in any way, shape, or form look like paint on a figure. And even as we lead out to the tip, you can see a really nice curve here at the tip of the tail. You can still see variations of browns and stuff creeping through the green. Just unbelievable how much paint variation is included. Even if you come back here to like the thigh, you can see like some slight hints of pinks and stuff, and you can see that here throughout the course of the underside. Like, you can see some slight hints of pinks there, even in the throat region. We did capture the underside of the Rex here as far as like that trademark scaling to the underside of a Jurassic Park style Tyrannosaurus. They've captured that beautifully as well, and again given it a really nice wash here on the underside so that all of that detail pops. And there's just so much skin texture down here as well. You can see the chest muscles as well are really nicely displayed right there. No matter where you look, again, it is as lifelike and realistic as it gets. Like, it does not get any better than this. And if we take a look at the opposing side of the head, you can again see how fantastic it looks over here, just like it did on the initial side. I love that they've kind of dry brushed some of the detail out here with that black, because that is exactly what you would see on the Lost World style Tyrannosaurus, so they've captured that nicely as well. Again, look at how realistic and lifelike that eye is. The way that they apply those eyes with like decals, I absolutely love. I think everyone should do it that way. And again, the paintwork looks phenomenal over here, just like it did on the initial side. Of course, the sculpt is as highly detailed as it gets. And then we lead back here into the neck. You can see quite a bit more of the neck on this side because the skin is stretching a lot more so than what we had seen on the previous side, because the Rex has its head turned in that position. So you would see a lot more of the neck region over here, giving you a good idea of how highly detailed the neck is. On this side, you can again pick up on some of the osteoderms and stuff throughout. And so much skin wrinkling and skin detail here in the throat region of this Tyrannosaurus. Insane detail. You can even see some more tensing over here, right here on this side of the neck. Again, you saw a lot of tensing on the other side, but you can see some on this side as well. And you can see more of that yellowish brown and stuff throughout the course of the neck, and even more of those yellows up here on the top, kind of creeping through the green up there. Once you come down here into the body, again, you can see this arm is in a slightly different position than the arm was on the previous side, yet still held into the body in a really nice natural way. And again, they've dry brushed the detail of the arm out beautifully. You can even see like some scoots down the course of the fingers. Really nicely painted fingers, again with that nice glossy black. And as we move back up here into the stomach region, you can see a little less of the stomach on this side because, of course, that gigantic Tyrannosaur leg is taking a step forward, so it obscures a little bit of the stomach, but you can see enough of it to know that it is honestly mind-blowingly beautiful from a detailing and paintwork standpoint. I like that the skin texture has kind of like a lighter green that creeps through all of the creases with a darker green over top. So it just adds so much color variation, and you can see some more of those browns showing up as you lead up here into the back. You start to see some of those blacks picking up, and you can see how nice and vibrant, again, the detailing is as far as the scale detail and how it pops. You can also pick up on the spinal column up there, and then some more of those scoots running across the top of the hip. And then leading down here into the thigh, you can see, again, so much muscle definition displayed. Such a large animal. It would need really strong legs to carry the immense weight of this Tyrannosaur around, and you can see how nice and muscular those legs are. You can also see how the skin stretching off of the tail really quite nicely as the leg is pulling forward, stretching that skin. Nanmu never ever misses an ounce of detail on their models. You can see that the kneecap is present here again in the front of the leg. Really nice looking calf muscle yet again, and you can even see paint variation again with like some slight hints of browns and even some slight hints of pinks and stuff. Like, it's like a really dark pink, almost like a brownish pink. It's really weird, but I really like it. And as you move down into the foot, you can see some nice variations of browns. Almost looks like they gave it a nice dark brown wash. And again, those scoots down the course of the toes, if I can get a nice shot of it with the light not being obscured by the head of the Tyrannosaur. There we go. Now we can see how nice that looks. You can see the scoots down the course of the toes looks really nice. Even those have paint variation to them. And again, the really nice foot sculpt, beautifully sculpted and painted nails. Of course, we do have dew claws back there, which you can see. Those as well are painted really nicely. So just an unbelievably nice looking foot sculpt. And then we move back up here into the tail again. The tail looks pretty much just like it did on the previous side because we don't have any kind of like crazy dramatic turn in the tail. Just a really nice natural turn as the Tyrannosaur is walking along, and you can see it curves quite beautifully and quite elegantly out here at the tip. So this is, again, in my opinion, the definitive version of a male Jurassic Park style Tyrannosaurus, and Nanmu knocked this out of the park by far. And then, of course, we have our Hannah Dundee, who is probably an afterthought at this point after seeing the beauty of that Rex, but you can see again, sculpt-wise, she is phenomenal. Of course, she comes in just this white coloration like the human figures usually do. It's really up to you if you'd like to add some paintwork to her or just keep her original. I usually keep them original, and I think it looks honestly incredible the way it is. But it's so cool that Nanmu has created a Hannah Dundee figure, just such a fun little extra to this set that I really like. Even though they have nothing to do with each other, it was still a really cool idea on their part, and I love this figure. But of course, the star of the show is the Rex, who I honestly can't even begin to stress how much I love. But again, a really cool extra on the part of Nanmu, as always.
So again, this Rex, on top of being drop dead gorgeous, is really quite sizable. So for a size as far as a length goes, you are looking at about 16 3/4 inches, or closing in on 17 inches in length, or about the 43 centimeter range. So showing off that it absolutely has some really nice size. The highest point would be probably the back. Yeah, definitely the back, because the head is kind of leaning down a little bit. If it were up on its base, then the head might look a little taller because, again, it has like an incline. But as far as standing, flat here on the ground for a height, you were looking at about 5 3/4 inches, or around I would say about 15 centimeter range. So definitely a very large, very nicely sized model. And you can also see that, again, it has the base, which I will be reviewing when the other one here arrives with the base, but this one stands fantastic without the base. Like, there are no balancing issues. You can see it stands really nicely, and considering how stable it is, I do not in any way, shape, or form see any balancing issues occurring in the future. So that is yet another of the many awesome aspects of this model. For a size comparison, there is Mr. Papo T-Rex, the Attack Pack Colovosaurus, and Robert Muldoon from the Mattel Jurassic World toy line. Although these guys are a little bit further forward, so they're not giving you an accurate size, I would say, in comparison to the Rex. But you could see in comparison to these figures right here that, again, this Nanmu male Tyrannosaurus Rex is really quite impressively large. Definitely a beast, if you ask me. And Mr. Papo Rex over there is probably hiding away back there behind the Nanmu Rex, because he, I would say at this point, is obsolete when you see a green Rex as beautiful as this Nanmu version. And then for a second comparison, here is the male Nanmu Tyrannosaurus in comparison to the female Nanmu Tyrannosaurus. And boy, do they ever look incredible together. Like, talk about the diorama possibilities. All we need now is a young infant Tyrannosaurus from Nanmu, and the set would be complete as far as a Lost World family goes. But you can see that they both have a very similar size, although once the male here would get up onto its kind of like ledge, it would probably appear to be a little bit larger. But due to the kind of crouching position of the model right now, it definitely has a little bit of a shorter height on it than the female does. But the overall body mass is a little bit larger, I would say, than the female, although it doesn't really look like it from this angle, honestly. The angle makes it almost look like the female's bigger, but if we actually maybe if we turn them together and we have them facing the same direction, and we get up above, you can now see that the male definitely has a little bit of a bigger and bulkier appearance than the female. The female is a little bit more slender, and I would say slightly smaller as far as the overall body mass goes, but they look so cool together. Like,
How much cooler does it get than having a male and female Tyrannosaurus that are so highly detailed and so beautifully painted here in comparison to each other? Nanmu is honestly making dreams come true. And then for another comparison, you can now see the Nanmu male Tyrannosaurus in comparison to the Nanmu Giganotosaurus, and you can get a good idea again of how they size up to each other. And obviously the Giga is a bit larger than the male Tyrannosaurus Rex, and as it should be, but both are honestly some of the most beautiful dinosaur models that not only do I have in my collection, that I've ever had the pleasure of seeing in general. Nanmu has just been continuously doing unbelievable work and far surpassing the overall quality, I would say, of almost any other company, potentially, surpassing any other company in general. Like, they just deliver the most beautiful sculpts, most beautiful paint. I can't see anybody right now competing with Nanmu as far as overall quality goes, and just looking at these two here in comparison to each other should be a pretty good indicator as to why. So this Nanmu Once and Future King release, as far as their Tyrannosaurus Rex goes, is one of the most exciting and one of the most beautiful releases from Nanmu yet. And yes, they continuously raise the bar, even on their own when it comes to their own figures. Every figure continuously, I feel like, gets better and better and better. And they somehow continue to one-up themselves with each and every release. I don't know how it would ever get better than this Tyrannosaurus, but with Nanmu, anything is possible. This sculpt, again, is just fantastic. I love everything about it, whether it's the positioning of the body with that kind of crouched look as it appears to be kind of leaning in, and if it's just kind of standing here flat on my, review station here, it just kind of looks like it's leaning in to reach down and grab something and take a bite of something. But if it's up on the base, I'm sure it'll have a very different appearance, as though maybe it's like letting out a roar over top of a valley or something really cool. We'll have to wait a few days to get a look at that. But again, the positioning of the body, I think, is really nice, and I like the kind of crouching position because it's just something a little bit different. It's not your standard dinosaur just standing up tall, looking around type of a pose, adding a little extra life to the figure and just having a little bit more of a unique appearance. So absolutely awesome as far as the positioning of the body goes, and the fine detailing of the Rex is mind-boggling. Like, when you look at it and just take in all of the fine detail overall, as far as like the skin texture and like the creasing of the skin, the wrinkles of the skin, the tensing of the muscles, it is unbelievable how much detail Nanmu has crammed into this Rex. Like, there is no possible way to add any more detail than what Nanmu has added here, and that is probably one of the most highest compliments that you could ever give a sculpt, because I really, like, just sitting here looking at it, I really couldn't think of anything else they could have added in to make this any better. It is as top of the line as it gets. The paintwork as well is fantastic. So lifelike, so realistic as far as the way it's applied, perfectly replicating a Lost World Jurassic Park style Tyrannosaurus and just bringing so much unbelievable life to the model, which is something that Nanmu does so much better than anybody else, is add paint application to their figures, because the final appearance to their figures, as far as the paint applications go, always exceeds my expectations by a mile. Like, you'll look at a figure from a company and you'll be like, oh, it looks great in the prototype, but it's not going to look that nice in person. Well, welcome to Nanmu, everyone, because that's not the case here. Their models look just as incredible or better in hand than they do on the prototype images, and very, very few companies, if any company, can say that. So that is, again, something that really differentiates Nanmu from everybody else, just shows you how much better they are as far as both the sculpts and the paint jobs of their figures than pretty much any other company right now that I can think of. And then, of course, we have our Hannah Dundee figure, which is just that really awesome little extra, and then we have the art card and everything as per usual. Nanmu just, it's not enough that they give us an unbelievable figure, they have to add in some extras, and I love them so much for that, because that's just the coolest little addition to this set, is having a Hannah Dundee figure to now enter in my collection. So when I tell you that this is a must-have and a high recommendation from me, I am not in any way, shape, or form exaggerating. If you are a fan of Jurassic Park, or, even specifically like the male Tyrannosaurus from Jurassic Park, but honestly, even just being a fan of dinosaurs,
this Tyrannosaurus needs to enter your collection. You just have to have it because it is just mind-blowingly beautiful. So make sure you head to the link in the description, as I will include a link to where you can purchase this right now on Dan's Dinosaurs, and you can acquire yourself this unbelievable Nanmu Tyrannosaurus for yourself. So make sure you do that. Make sure you pick up this Rex and check back for the reviews of the other versions that will be up within the next few days, hopefully. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next review. Thanks for watching.